First and Now, the official BC Lions podcast. We are back in downtown Vancouver, inside the Wall Center, Go-Goat Sports Studios. Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski. Well, a lot has happened since we last spoke. A lot of good stuff. We'll get to LL Cool J and all the fun business here over the course of the next 45 minutes, but good to be back inside the podcast center here, my friend.
Very good to be back home, and now we got our season opener coming up next week. It's all coming up, and it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, less than a week from now, we will be in Calgary, McMahon Stadium. What a place to be to kick off the 2023 campaign, the 69th regular season for your BC Lions, and have to give a shout out to our friends, our sponsor here, Tourism Kamloops. Let curiosity be your compass. In Kamloops, real places and rough edges are embraced as a sign of memories well made and adventures well played. Whether you've got fun between your legs, on your bike, birdie, or bogey. Bogeys for Nick, birdies for Bakes here. You're way across some of
like we golfed. Yeah.
Some of Canada. Oh yeah, every day, all the time in the world. Some of Canada's most beautiful golf courses are hike and taste wine at new heights. You went out wine tasting with a couple of your friends you made up there. Kamloops has what you crave. Speaking of golf, from shorelines to cliff sides, Kamloops' distinct environment will suit any golfer while presenting a unique challenge for all skill levels. You can swing without crowds. The dress code is relaxed and the vibe is friendly. Kamloops golf courses include nearly 1,200 meters of elevation change, where the dramatic topography illustrates a myriad of panoramic views. Golfers are passionate in Kamloops for good reason. Visit golfkamloops.com to look at packages. Kamloops, as always, outstanding. Best training camp site in the Canadian Football League by far.
Yes.
And we always get to enjoy some of Kamloops. That's the kind of the perk of not being full on in football operations, which is good. But we got to see the Memorial Cup. As we record this, the host Kamloops Blazers somehow eliminated by Peterborough in the tiebreaker. But
saw that, yeah.
My Seattle Thunderbirds are still alive. How fun was that, though, being at the Memorial Cup? We saw Quebec defeat Seattle. Sellout crowd at the Sandman Center. The Molson Hockey House. Shout out to our pals at Molson as well. That was kind of a great event to take in on our last night.
Yeah, we went to it before and after. The game was packed. It was a cool atmosphere. One of those bucket list things that we were kind of talking about heading into that event. And yeah, Quebec got the upset done, and it was a fun night. It was good, like you said. It was good to kind of relax on the last night that we were in Kamloops, and the whole content crew came too. So that was fun to enjoy that night out with everybody.
Yeah, Liam Thompson, our chief of staff, Stephen Chang, content and communications photo extraordinaire. Speaking of golf, it's a solid little foursome to go out and have some fun. And yeah, Kamloops, the tournament capital, and by all accounts from what we saw, did a great job, still doing a great job with the Memorial Cup. So
our players got into golfing too, eh?
Yeah, there was a big group on getaway day, right? White, Flintoff, Tyler Gammon, football ops manager, was spearheading that as well. Saw him. Lucky, yeah. Lucky Whitehead, a.k.a. Shooter McGavin.
Tiger Woods with that big putt.
Draining Shooter McGavin. You get that reference? Probably not.
Happy
you
Gilmore,
do?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's, again, team camaraderie, team chemistry. Football is football, but golf, other activities. And yeah, it was a good vibe up there. Every time we go up, there's a couple of new things. There's a new local restaurant, just a walk up the hill from the residence. Went there with Moj and Dwayne Vanneau, our president, the one night. Very solid time.
Saw Moj's dog.
King, yes. Yeah, we're sitting up there in the press box at practice. I think it was the last day, wasn't it?
The very last day, yeah.
And all of a sudden we look down. There's Moj walking this big pit bull. And you know how we love Moj. He kind of has a distinct strut when he walks, and then you add a leash and a big dog to the mix. It kind of...
And the dog was mimicking it too. The dog had a nice little strut to himself too. It was a funny sight.
His lovely girlfriend Nicola. That's her. Yes. She has the dogs, right?
Yeah.
Is that We land from Regina Sunday morning. First preseason game. Stay overnight for various reasons. And Moj is booking tea times. I got to get in before 5:00 because I got to go get the dogs from the kennel. So that's domesticated life for you, I guess. Can we talk? Let's talk football, shall we not?
Yeah, two games are done.
We had a bit of a bye week since our last 2 games since we last recorded up in Kamloops with Lucky and Dominique Rhymes. Great episode. I encourage you to check that out here on all your platforms. I guess we got to go with the most recent result as we record this the day after a 25-22 win over Calgary. Overall, a passing grade for the starting offense. 12 for 12, 213 yards for VA. Justin McInnes, 2 touchdown grabs. Dominique Rhymes with the other one. They scored on the first 3 possessions, I believe, and really take it for what it's worth. Again, Calgary playing backups, not showing too much because we have to go in there less than a week from now, but good to see the offense get off on the right foot, even if it was a meaningless game in the standings.
Oh, for sure. Pretty much a perfect outing from Vernon Adams Jr., which has to do wonders for his confidence heading into next week at Calgary. Also great to see Justin McInnes, like you said, score twice. Like I think he's kind of a sleeper in this offense. He's a 6'5" receiver that was signed in free agency, and Rhymes, Lucky, Hatcher, they get all the credit right now and all the love. But you got a guy like Justin McInnes. Alex Hollins was involved yesterday. There's Devon Cottoy.
Terry Williams.
Terry Williams has had a fantastic camp, especially
Scary
at
Terry.
receiver. Yeah. He got involved, couple nice diving catches. So yeah, the main takeaway has to be the performance of the offense. They look great. They passed all their tests in the first half. I thought the O-line looked really well too. They were kind of dictating the play when VA and the first team were out there. Wrapped up with the Kieran Burnham game winner, which is another good story. He's been spot on in preseason for us too.
Back to Justin McInnes, we were excited to sign him. We had him on, I think, the week after.
Yeah.
Excellent guy, excellent individual, 6th overall pick with Saskatchewan. But again, he's kind of on the back burner when we're going in and we're breaking down all the positions and the receivers. And there's 18 out there is making plays all over the place. That was Justin McInnes. And good to see that translate into game action. Now, we've written about him, got a bit of a piece up on bclions.com. Bit of a new formula, at least for this week. Not the traditional game recap, but taking a storyline out of our post-game interviews, and we brought Justin to the podium, so maybe we'll experiment with that. We'll still get to Bake's game takes when it gets going for real here, but we encourage you to check that out at bclions.com. Of course, week 1 preseason, we hit on it in Regina. The big takeaway again there, some of the young, it was a rookie-heavy lineup, right? All the regulars stayed home and played golf, as they deserve to do. A couple days off for the veterans, but the likes of Aiden Eberhardt, he had over 100 yards and really made some good plays. A guy who probably earned at least an extension of camp. Who knows? We're recording this before the final cuts, but global receiver Giovanni Robinson, a couple nice grabs, had the first touchdown of the night. And, when the lights come on in game action, some of those guys, it's make or break, and definitely a couple of those people survive till the end of camp, at least again. But the young receivers and a couple of young linebackers performing well in Saskatchewan.
Well, Eberhardt's been a stud throughout training camp too. I saw guys like Bo Lacumbo commenting that, he's been doing it all camp and made some terrific contested catches in the loss at Regina. Definitely made a name for himself too. It's funny, the first thing everyone talks about Eberhardt is his number. It's 77, but then once you get past that, you see how good of a player he is and the name he's making for himself. He's at a fantastic camp, and he's definitely a candidate to stick around now just based off of the performances he's had. And then Ryder Varga too. I've got to give a shout out to him.
Yeah, pick
six in
yeah.
his hometown is where he played university football at. He's someone who he returned to Canada West last year after being drafted by us the year prior, and just was a stat sheet stuffer. I think he won the most outstanding defensive player in the Canada West too. So he's someone that I have pretty high hopes for, and I know the Travis Brown and the linebackers and our RP they all like him a lot. So that's another guy to keep an eye out for this season.
Yeah, Ryder Varga, one of those guys, he's proved his worth on special teams as well, and honestly, that's going to be the role he's going to be required to play here. And but hey, we've seen in the last couple of years, young linebackers, Ben Hladek, Isaiah Messam has filled in spot duty. You can't have too much Canadian depth at these positions. And finally, after 10, 12 days of practice, whatever it was, to see these guys shine in a game in Regina under the lights before it started pouring rain, that was cool to see. We are going to speak to Sarah Said, does a great job covering the CFL on various digital platforms. Showtime NFT, right? Is that still the handle, or is the NFT dropped from that?
It might be digital.
Showtime Digital. Why was I thinking Showtime NFT?
I think you were right before.
I was.
At one time, yeah.
NFTs are kind of over now, aren't they? Let's not get that going. But House of CFL, she's worked for the Parlay, very passionate about the league. We'll talk to Sarah in a few minutes, but in the opening segment here, we have to hit on Concert Kickoff. LL Cool J, 2-time Grammy Award winner, 10 times in a row platinum albums. Really takes me back to my youth, but he spans over a couple generations. 1984, his career really got rolling. LL going to perform. Finally, it was worth the wait.
Oh, very much so. It's an exciting announcement. A hip-hop artist who has kind of his own unique style, and he's showed that throughout his eras of recording music. And yeah, songs like Going Back to Cali, Mama Said Knock You Out. It was fun putting that piece together. A lot to work with his all the range he has with music, and I'm sure it's going to be on full display.
Great job.
On June 17th.
Yeah, great job with the video. Hillary, Janelle, Carter, everybody with the graphics. And I wanted to hit on this in the release because I was a big fan. I'm a big fan of the movie Any Given Sunday. And he played the hotshot diva running back in Any Given Sunday, J-Man.
Yeah, he's got range.
One of my favorite football movies. I don't care what people say. Oliver Stone's Any Given Sunday. So yeah, that's no doubt going to cause some action, some excitement. Ticket sales going very strong from what we understand, and we're still over 2 weeks away. So let's pack the lower bowl and then some. I do have a request, though. You're gonna do a couple more videos still, right, for this?
For LL Cool J, yes.
Yeah. Get a little Head Sprung in there. That's my favorite LL Cool J song.
Okay.
Can you work on?
Consider it done.
Can you talk to your people and
done.
make that happen? Second time in a row, we'll have a concert kickoff. Of course, One Republic, very, very popular last year. And shout out to Amar Doman for backing up his claims for upping the game experience to another level. And he joined Sakaris and Price on this Friday as well. So check out, if you subscribe here, you likely subscribe to Sakaris and Price. Check out Amar's interview where he talks about that and gives an overview ahead of his second full season as owner. Parts of 3 seasons since he bought the team in August of 2019. And hopefully it's a repeat on the field. Last year, 59-15 over Edmonton.
Well, yesterday had that vibe to it.
Just coming out, firing on all,
every drive,
Yeah. Whether it's through the air, VA scrambling, he some broken plays. He moved the ball with his feet, and multi-dimensional offense, a quarterback who can scramble. In this league, that is a plus, but that's going to be a rockin' night at BC Place with LL Cool J. A 2-day backyard block party on Robson. We'll have the Trues perform early on game day. Famous Players Band on the Friday. A viewing party for Winnipeg playing Saskatchewan. Very, very awesome. Hey, we're just talking about the Memorial Cup and being out at the various events. Not just the game, and we're looking forward to having downtown Vancouver decked out in orange and black. We've got our blackout jerseys today. The Fogs looked really good, both preseason games.
Yeah, we're not going to see these till June 17th, too, so that's another
be worth the wait.
Going to be very exciting about that game.
Be worth the wait. First and now, the official Lions podcast will welcome in Sarah Said, coming up. And off we go to Toronto. Sarah Said is with us, a first-time guest here on First and Now, and it's an honor to have her in, a CFL contributor with Showtime, among other platforms, a very big fan of the league. Sarah, how's it going?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, anytime. A long time coming. I figured it's a good time with the season just around the corner. Training camps have broken preseason. While we record this, still a couple of more preseason games around the league. But seeing as you are in Toronto, you did spend a bit of time at Guelph with the Argonauts covering training camp. What was your overall sense of the defending Grey Cup champions as they look to set the tone for a possible run at a repeat?
I mean, for me, it kind of felt like an extension of last year. I mean, obviously, we don't have MBT there. We have Chad Kelly kind of taking the reins, but you can see the camaraderie. You can see the ease, I would say is the word that I would use, among the guys, especially the defensive players, right? We do have 2 new guys that came in, huge stars. We have Flo, Fuller and Ormalade, and then Adarius Pickett as well. But it's kind of like they just threw themselves in there and meshed really well with everybody else. So for me, it felt like a regular practice from last year in a good way. It felt like, that's what you want to see. You want to feel like the team is on the same track, especially after having won. But obviously we're all, everyone in the stands is looking at Chad Kelly, trying to see, what we can pick up on and see if we can get an idea of what the season's going to be like with him in there. And I would say so far so good from just that training camp perspective, and seeing him even on the field yesterday a little bit. It seems like there is some hope there. And I will say, though, one of the main things that kind of stood out to me was the uniform, because that was the first, sorry, not the uniform, the helmets. That was the first time that I saw the helmets, like in real life. The uniforms were not released yet by that point. But they were so nice, and they were shining like the blue, it's so strong on the field, like compared to like in contrast with the grass. And I didn't like them at first, but then when I saw them in real life, I did. So that would be my biggest takeaway, honestly.
Yeah, I'm like you. I never like to fully judge a uniform till I see it in action, see it in person. And like I said, we talked earlier, our fog grays in the preseason, very sharp. If we don't say so ourselves, we have to say it, but we do truly mean it. But both Nick and I were in the stands at that Grey Cup. Somewhat of a surprising result in the end, but we kind of talked amongst ourselves at that time about, it's kind of a topic that gets brought up every time, but the overall excitement in the market. The Argonauts do have some great fans. I mean, people can harp on the attendance, but the fans are great. What's the sense of excitement there in Toronto since that Grey Cup upset over the Bombers?
I mean, I will be honest. It's nothing's too different. I know that that's not the best answer, but it's the truth. I mean, obviously what you guys are all doing, Mardoman as well in BC, to hype up the game, hype up CFL in Vancouver, which is, also a big market, but it is amazing. But what we're not really seeing that here. That's the honest truth. Like, I remember my friend, he follows the NFL. And he came to the Grey Cup party we had hosted. So that's what I did. That I wasn't in Regina, unfortunately, but I was hosting a Grey Cup watch party. It was great. A lot of fans came in. But then when you would leave the building after and, you would walk the streets of Toronto, you would never know that a team in Toronto had just won a championship, which is so unfortunate. So I don't want to be negative, but it's one of those things that I still think needs to be worked on.
Yeah, obviously, you mentioned it with Amar Doman here out west, though. We got the LL Cool J concert kickoff announcement yesterday. I'm sure you saw that. What was your reaction to hearing the artist announced?
I was shocked, I'm going to be honest. I saw the email, like the press release that was sent over, and it took me a second. I felt like my brain had to load for like a minute. I was like, wait, is that actually LL Cool J? And I think it's awesome. I was super excited. I think that that's the perfect type of guest or artist you can have, because when I thought of it, I immediately thought like it kind of transcends generations, right? Like if you were to talk to my mother's generation, who they were going out doing things in the 90s around that time period where LL Cool J was really popular, like they kind of connect with those songs. But then you also see generation like mine, where I was born in the 90s. I still like him, so I think it's a really fun, perfect person to have that can connect with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And then as far as the team on the field, are you excited as us to tune into this BC Lions team this season?
Oh, 100%. Oh my goodness. First of all, seeing Lucky Whitehead just come in on his little bike with like his orange shoes, I feel like that just set the tone. I was like, hey, the season's actually started now. Like, we're good. So that was fun. And the team itself, like, obviously you guys have done such a great job with social media, and then you have Arrow up as well. So getting that insight into the environment that this team has built for itself, like culturally, and just the connections that like the personalities that are in that team, I think makes anybody want to watch it, right? No matter if they win or lose or what happens, right? At the end of the day, like, they're entertaining. And I think also VA proved last night that he could handle himself. I mean, he was 12 for 12. Like, to me, that's amazing. I know it's just preseason. I know it's just a snippet and stuff like that, but I think it's a good sign.
I guess as far as the team too, like you're on an outsider's perspective, what are you most like looking or focusing on when it comes to the BC Lions this season?
I mean, it would probably be the quarterback situation, just because of Nathan Rourke's big impact, right? Like, when you're coming off such a high like that, it's kind of like you're looking in, okay, well, can they maintain that momentum? Can the team really continue to be a contender in the West, obviously compared to the Bombers and these other big, contenders as well. So I think that's a big one. I also think like consistency as well is key. So if the team can maintain the success as well as just prove that like it's not just Rourke, it's all of us. I think that those are the things that I'm kind of looking for.
Yeah, and VA said post-game he hadn't felt that comfortable in a long time, and it just speaks to the chemistry he's established with a lot of those receivers. Going around, you touched on Winnipeg, but sticking in the West Division here, who do you see potentially as the biggest challenger to Winnipeg? Obviously, this Lions team envisions itself being a contender, but how do you see the other teams in the West stacking up?
I think this is like the hardest question of this season because, well, obviously there's been so many changes, right, in key positions like quarterback changes, but I feel like it's also, to me, that the Bombers last year, they did incredible, but they did still not win the cup, right? So I feel like at the end of the day, that kind of like makes other teams feel like, okay, we can do this too. And we kind of, push back against the Bombers and their reign as well. Cause I think that the Bombers are still the highest kind of team that people want to beat. But I think the rank, so to speak, I would say BC is definitely high up there, just based off of what we just talked about. We need to let VA cook. I think he can do what he needs to do if he needs to. But I also think that another team that could surprise us is the Edmonton Elks. I think obviously the quarterback situation there does worry me a little bit. But I think that the receivers are elite and they can do a great job. And I think that they might be one to watch, especially, because they didn't do good last year. I think that's what BC was last year, right? BC was the bottom team, the lowest team in the West. Correct me if I'm wrong. In what was it, 2021? So I'm kind of thinking that we could maybe see that with the Elks, where they kind of make their comeback there. In terms of the Riders, I have question marks with the Riders. I feel like they could also do well, but I'm not too sure about them. And then I think Calgary is really just BC, Calgary, and the Elks are kind of obviously high up there. I do think, though, that Calgary might kind of surprise us as well. I think that, we might be in the position where we were last year, where we didn't really expect them to kind of be, they're kind of like always in the middle, you know what I mean? But then they pop out of nowhere because they're consistent enough. And then they make that, that play where they could actually make it to the cup. So I think that it's really tricky. I'm kind of like unsure. I'm going to be honest. It could go in so many directions, but let me give you the answer you want. I think BC could actually be really serious as a contender.
There we go. But you are bang on. I mean, Lions and Stamps, both 12-6 last year. Two close victories we had in Calgary, winning the tiebreaker, and that was the difference. The playoff game was a bit more of a mismatch than I think a lot of people expected, but was a great day for us. Out east, and by the way, let VA cook. I like that. We're gonna get that trending this year, I promise you. But out east, I still like Toronto. I know people are high on Hamilton. Bo Levi Mitchell, what Bo Levi Mitchell are we going to see? I know they made some big changes at other positions, Jameer Thurman, a couple new offensive linemen, but I'm not sold quite yet. But overall, how do you see the East shaking out?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm going to say that the Argos are still my top team. I think that it's just the Chad Kelly question is the main question, right? Aside from that, the team is very solid. And I think that I'm going to put my hope in him for that. So it's still uncertain, right? We haven't seen him play much at all, even just yesterday. It's hard to get a read. So, but I know that he does have that connection with a lot of his receivers, similar probably to VA, right? Where they trust him. So I think that that's a key thing that I'm looking for. In terms of the other teams, yeah, Hamilton definitely is going to be a team to watch just because of Bo Levi. And I love James Butler. I think that that's such a great addition. Going to be super, super exciting on offense. I think after that, though, is also where I get unsure. I think the Red Blacks, we're relying on Jeremy Soli. Like, we're trying to see, is he going to be able to be healthy enough to play in the regular season? That's a huge question. We thought he was going to be. He looked great, in training camp when you see little snippets, little videos, but is he actually going to be able to do it, right? And then we have Nick Arbuckle right after him. That has been kind of a question mark. He's been around the league in different teams for a while, so we don't know if he can actually lead the Ottawa Red Blacks further than they have been more recently. So that's definitely, and then you have like Shaq Evans' injury and things like that come up, right? That sort of shake things up. Same with Montreal. Montreal, obviously, they have their new ownership, which to me is probably the biggest deal, because at the end of the day, you can have some good players, right? But like, if the ownership is not stable, if the team is not stable or feeling that yet, and then that I think will be just like kind of like a momentum. It brings down the momentum of the whole environment, right, that you're in. So I think it's probably going to be a year for the Alouettes where they're adjusting to things. And then obviously Cody Fajardo last year with the Riders, he he kind of, I don't even know how to put this. I don't know if his mindset was right at all last year. And so I don't know how his mindset's going to be this year coming in, right? Like he was very focused. He wasn't able to take the pressure, I would say, from Riders fans last year. And I think that this place, Montreal, will be like a breath of fresh air for him, but also can he kind of let the past be the past? That's something that is probably a big question mark. But what I will say is I am sad about Tyson Philpott. He seems to have an injury and he might not be able to play some of the, at the beginning of the regular season. And I think that for me, he was one of the bigger stars that kind of remained on the team. And I think he would have been kind of like, could it be the face of the Alouettes, right? So that made me sad. And I actually just, like I said, I don't really know between the Red Blacks and the Alouettes what's going on there. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna keep the Argos on top. We're not gonna talk about Hamilton too much beating us because that's we can't really put that in the air.
Never.
Yeah,
No.
I'm with you on the Cody Fajardo thing. Like a change of scenery can do wonders for a player. I think about Dane Evans too. Last year in Hamilton, didn't have the year that he wanted, but now he's in BC. Just talking to him, he seems very happy to contribute at all levels here. So yeah, I definitely agree with you there. But moving ahead to the season now, like we're fortunate enough to kick off the season opener next week at Calgary. But what about yourself? Are you planning to go to any, like what are you planning to for CFL events? Are you going to Argos games? Anything else in the works this season for you?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely. My goal was to try to go to as many stadiums as I could. I've been to watch a game. I've been to BMO Field and Tim Hortons Field to just see the stadium. I've seen TD Place just from observation from like a distance. Like I drove by it. I saw the Al Stadium, Percival Molson. I saw Commonwealth, and just seeing just even the environments of all those stadiums makes me want to just ASAP watch a game. So I'm going to try my very best. In terms of legit plans, it'll obviously be Toronto, Hamilton for sure. And then maybe, you know what, BC sounds like the best experience ever, not only because you guys have like $5 beers, but also because like obviously I saw the Kamloops stuff. I mean, Kamloops I know is not Vancouver, but like just being able to travel around the province and seeing like mountains and stuff like that, plus football, that sounds like a dream.
Yeah, you said it best for sure. It's definitely the best backdrop. The Kamloops backdrop is the best in training camp. We've said it 100 times. And then, yeah, being in Vancouver, there's so much to do. You also went to Touchdown Atlantic last season, correct?
That was the best weekend of like my life. It was so much fun. Halifax is extremely beautiful too. It kind of felt like you were on a resort because you would just walk around and you would see, Riders fans, Argos fans, and you would get to know them and talk to them. And it wasn't weird. You could I remember I went to the bathroom in like a little pub just to sit down for a second. And I went down and I saw a huge group of Argos fans, and I just have no shame. And I was like, oh, you're from Toronto. Like I just go up to them and start talking and asking questions. And I sat with them for the whole night and they chatted with me and they told me about their families and all kinds of things. And it makes you realize, this is like what makes the CFL so cool is as how generational it is and how hardcore the fans are. And that's what Touchdown Atlantic really showed me as well. And the weather was amazing. It's like the best time in the world. I recommend to anybody.
That's awesome. Yeah, Touchdown Atlantic looked like a blast. I hope to get there one day. You never know what the future schedule will bring. As long as there's no 10th team, for sure, I have to hope for just one regular season game there in the Maritimes. Sarah, this was great fun. Only regret was we didn't do it sooner, but we're glad you're able to stop by. Keep doing what you do. We need more like you covering this league and hyping up this league. And your passion has always come through clearly. So we appreciate you stopping by, and perhaps we'll see you out there on July the 2nd, I believe it is.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited to see what happens with the BC Lions, so I will keep in touch.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. First and now, the official Lions podcast. Thank you to Sarah Said. Need more folks like Sarah pumping the league's tires and covering the league.
Yeah, we say that a lot internally. She does such a good job and is so passionate about the CFL, and just it's exciting to talk to her, and it really feels like football's around the corner now. Or it's already here, but it just feels like it's coming. Season opener. Yeah.
Regularly, she's around when the Argos are playing at home, being Toronto-based, and we look forward to potentially seeing her in early July, Canada Day long weekend in Toronto. Just talking with Trevor Martins, our executive producer. We're planning to visit the Hockey Hall of Fame on that trip.
You guys are?
Yeah, you want to? Let's do it.
I think you've been before, right?
I've been. I was interning for TSN way back in 2006. I know you were just like in preschool then, but
not quite.
so I've not. So as a Canuck guy through and through, I've not been there since Pavel Bure has been inducted.
Okay.
So there's always lots to see.
I
So-
got you beat there. I think I was there like 4 years ago.
Okay, yeah, just
Go
yeah.
to Lizzo concert.
Look forward to doing that. What's that? Week 5, something like that.
You don't get that reference, the Lizzo concert?
There was a Lizzo concert at Scotiabank Arena, but what was like?
We were at the Blue Jays game.
Yeah, and one of us sent us the wrong way back to the hotel.
Yeah,
right?
we've told this story, yeah.
We've told this story. No need to. Let's let sleeping dogs lie. Okay, Tourism Kamloops, culinary matters here. Hungry for new flavors? Choose from Kamloops' many restaurants, patios, pubs, local, great patio, and food trucks serving up fresh local fare. Pair with handcrafted beer, cider, award-winning wines made right there in the Thompson River Valley, and experience an adventure in your glass. Love that. We'll be back in Kamloops. Well, I'm sure it'll be here in no time, but we're looking for bigger dreams here first in 2023. Some of the big news that came down in Kamloops, in fact, FanFest night.
Yes.
Some of us found out. Jonathan Kongbo, a 2-time Grey Cup champion defensive end, Surrey boy by way of Africa, spent last season with the Denver Broncos, had a couple other NFL stints in between his time with the Blue Bombers. So he was signed, and that's going to make a big difference on the defense. But you captured some of that for an upcoming Arrow Up. Please explain.
Yeah. The final Arrow Up is coming out. And it's coming out soon. These next couple of days, we just got to edit all the preseason footage together. But yeah, I tagged along with Ryan Rigmain, who picked up Kongbo from the airport when he arrived in Kamloops last week. And funny story about this airport visit or trip that Rigmain and I did. This won't be making its debut on Arrow Up, but when we Kongbo, Rigmain, and I were walking, we got out of his SUV when we went to go pick him up and met him inside the airport. And then we walked back to the SUV. Rigmain pops up the trunk. Kongbo puts his suitcase in, there's all his other bags in there, and then Rigmain hits his fob key to open the doors, and the doors aren't opening. And then we eventually come to the conclusion that the batteries have died in the fob. So we can't order the fob. And usually there's a key in it, right? When
Right.
You have,
There
an
is.
extra key.
Yeah.
We cannot find a key in that fob. But the trunk was already open. So that's all we had. We had that one door open. The other doors were not open. We had there's a little button on the side. We couldn't get that to work. So none of the buttons are open. So being the 5'10", 100-pound 80 guy that I am, I volunteered to just climb through the back of the trunk while Jonathan Kongbo and Ryan Rigmain are just standing there looking at me. Climbed through, did like a little swan dive into the back seat, and got up to the front seat, opened the doors, and away we went. But it was just a little funny detour that we had to make.
Were you filming this?
No, I don't think so. I think Rigmain was holding my camera, and I didn't see any footage of it. Yeah, but funny story about that.
The lengths that you go to get the content, we appreciate that. But
Would have been funny to watch from a distance, I bet.
yeah, I'm sure someone there watching was like, "What the hell are these guys doing?" But yeah, defensive line. Rick Campbell said it. He would sign as many defensive linemen as he could if there was no roster limit, no salary cap constraints. And again, you go in thinking you're pretty set with Menard and Betts rotating. A couple of young Americans. Sione Tuihema is back. Sean Lemon. Love Sean Lemon, but the fact he didn't make it through says a lot about the talent they brought in. But you're never 100% set in stone. It's always keep building, and the line of scrimmage will be a big key to the success.
Yeah, and there's guys like Woody Berra and Miles Fox, too, that are just beasts inside. A guy like Marcus Moore is really impressed in training camp, who had a sack yesterday. Amar Sadiq yesterday had a sack as well. But yeah, the team's going to have to make tough decisions, especially in that position group. They'll be coming soon, and again, it's exciting to see what the final roster is going to look like, because there's a bullpen of defensive line that can all play. Thibaut Debye is another guy that I want to name out. That just
high motor. Yeah,
it's been fantastic in camp.
All right, before we sign off, I have to promote the debut of BC Lions on Tap.
Yeah.
We'll be out at the Pioneer Pub in Richmond Tuesday night. Moj, myself, yourself, 8 to 8:30. So if you're in the area, come down. A Lions dedicated show. Planning on having Dwayne Vanneau, our president, join us for the inaugural episode. Very much looking forward to this as we get more involved on the radio this year.
I'm very excited for this too. It's going to be exciting to see all these new pubs. I like to just check them out too, as being a newer mainland resident.
Yeah.
I'm excited to just visit new places that are obviously we're partnered up with. So it's going to be exciting times. I've been telling you guys this off the air, but I kind of want to get some trivia involved. I want to see how I want to test your guys' BC Lions knowledge on these shows. I think that'll be an appropriate setting to get you guys to see who has the most BC Lions knowledge out of you and Moj.
Well, Moj goes Moj. If you're talking early era, Moj has it.
Let's do a variety. Let's do a variety.
We'll come up with 2 or 3 questions and we'll squeeze them in.
Stump the Moj?
Stump the Moj. There you go. There's our segment, Stump the Moj. Okay, my friend, good job. You killed it in Kamloops. You killed it with the LL Cool J. And I got some good vibes going into this season. Lions Stampeders Thursday. Moj, speaking of him. Moj, Julio, maybe King the dog will be in the booth. You don't know. I don't think they can get him into McMahon Stadium.
You have a video of this dog too, right?
I do have a video of Moj walking this dog and feeding him ice from the cooler behind the bench. Yeah. Maybe we'll post it later.
I think that should get out there.
Caption, new mascot. Move over, Leo and Rory. Okay. He is Nick Kowalski. I'm Matt Baker. Be sure to subscribe, rate, leave us a review. And we're going to be back in a matter of days on First and Now, the official Lions podcast.